Good Thursday evening. This is the More with Less podcast. And joining me today are two Wake Forest basketball legends, Bobby Hoekstra and L.D. Williams, who have joined us tonight to talk about their new podcast and to talk a little bit about Wake Forest basketball, strangely enough. Welcome to the show, Bobby and L.D.
How you guys doing?
Yeah, thanks for having us, Les.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. We'll start off. We'll talk about last night first and then get into the nuts and bolts of your new podcast venture. LD, were you ever on the bench and been a part of seeing your coach get tossed with two technicals in rapid succession like that?
Never. I was watching the game and I really didn't even know what happened, really. Like, I saw Coach walking off the floor. The announcer said he might have got ejected. I was just like, for what? Like Gary Williams might have had the worst mouth I've ever heard on the sideline. And some of the stuff that he said, like, I can't imagine it being a tenth of what Coach said yesterday.
Well, as part of the media, non-COVID, we always sit down by the visiting bench, down by the base, behind the basket, right by the opposing team's bench. Right. And I hear opposing coaches just curse a blue, including Coach K, who obviously is a legend. I'm not taking that away from him, but it's a verbal barrage from the time the tip-off starts, nonstop. So, but yeah, it's whatever. Bobby, have you ever seen anything like that? And did Forbes get shortchanged? I mean, if you're going to get tossed, at least get something out of it, right?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, first off, never seen anything like it. You know, I've definitely heard a lot of coaches say a lot of things. I've seen the single technical. I've never seen the immediate double tech.
Yes.
And then even, looking at the videos, it was, kind of just nodded his head and walked off. I was like, well, maybe he said what he needed to, but, the players said they knew he had their back. But, yeah, I mean, I would have thrown a chair like Bobby Knight if I was in that situation.
Yeah.
I mean, from what you all saw on the court, was there a reason for Forbes to be upset?
Oh, absolutely. I thought the officiating was atrocious. Somehow we got the Cameron refs over to Winston-Salem last night.
You feel the same way, LD?
Yes and no. Just because, and Biho knows this, whenever you go into Duke, like, you're going to have a tough whistle. Like, no matter where the game is, like, you're playing Duke, the whistle's going to be tough. So, yes, like, we get hammered. There's not a foul. Like, yes, yesterday was very physical. We got the short end of the whistle. But it's just like, though, like, that that's going to be the deal.
Yeah, but
there was
the missed goaltending.
Oh, yeah, at least two of them, right?
Charges. And it's, we did not play well. Duke did. They were physical with us. We weren't, the refs weren't the reason for the game, but it's just kind of one more thing on top of that makes it super frustrating.
There was one time Davian went up on a drive in transition where he kind of like a pinballed off a couple players. He got hammered maybe twice,
yes,
and then kind of tumbled, and he almost rolled into a Duke player. And I jokingly was wondering, are they going to call a foul on Davian for rolling into the Duke player as bad as the whistle was?
I've seen crazier things in a Duke
game. How, as Wake alums, Bobby, how do you all juxtapose the optimism that came from Saturday against Florida State versus the desolation of what happened yesterday? Because those weren't the same two Wake Forest teams, seemingly.
They weren't. I think, you got to keep a big picture perspective, look at the process over the results. I think, we were all really, really inspired by the performance on Saturday, and you start looking ahead and being like, okay, we're really starting to build something. I was certainly hopeful for last night. I was like, this is a great opportunity to have, Coach Forbes with a signature win, beat a rival at home. Definitely was starting to feel all of that. It didn't happen. I think the good thing is we've seen them bounce back pretty quickly from bad games. The what game was it where we didn't play well, and there was one earlier this season, and we bounced back right away with a pretty good performance after that. I think Coach Forbes knows how to get after him after a loss. So last night was ugly. It wasn't fun to watch, but I'm pretty confident they're going to go to work and put that behind them and look better and get back to that upward trajectory that we've been seeing.
Oh, and I know it's weird times for everybody. Have you had a chance yet to connect with Coach Forbes?
Once or twice. Yeah, we actually have a cool connection. His godson is like one of my best basketball friends. So when he got hired, that was the first thing that Jerry Smith is who the guy is, played at Louisville. He was like, bro, you guys just hit a home run, basically. So his dad made the connection pretty quickly. We texted a little bit and talked on the phone a couple of times. So yeah.
Yeah, I will tell you guys, and you probably know this already, from a media perspective, it's a breath of fresh air. He's been really open and frank with us. He's always entertaining to chat with. And he gets into the weeds in terms of basketball, X's and O's, more than I'm used to. And quite honestly, is sometimes over my head. But I'm cool with that, though, because it makes me stretch. It makes me try to learn more about the game myself, which I want to do. So, for instance, the last 7 years, I've learned a lot about football, even though I never played the sport, from just being around Coach Clausen and that staff. And now some of that's starting to seep through in basketball. It's a game I grew up loving, but never played competitively. I wasn't you guys. So, there's sometimes where Forbes explains things that it makes me look for the answers and try to figure out what exactly he's talking about so I can better write about it. So I love having him around so far. It seems to me it's just a matter of time before the wins come.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I know you know more than the game is about paint touches and making shots, man. I mean, anybody, any other coach you would learn more from listening to him talk. So I know it's refreshing, like you said. It's refreshing for us too, as now fans of the program, to hear like, all right, this is exactly what's going on. Like, it's great.
Yeah, you can, you see his personality come through in the interviews. You get, actual insight, actual plan, actual analysis of what has happened or what's going to happen. It's good to see. I know, like, after the game, I'm scrolling through Twitter looking for Les or Connor to put those quotes out because I want to see what he says, because it's actually interesting stuff now, which is, again, a breath of fresh air.
So who's the brains behind the operation of this new podcast? What's the podcast titled? I've listened to a couple of episodes. I think it's great stuff so far. How did this come about, and who's the brains behind the operation?
I don't know if you can call either of us the brains.
Yeah, hey, I don't know who's the brains behind it. Just a really cool opportunity presented itself. One of the producers or whatnot from Believe had emailed me about the opportunity about doing the podcast. And then after we talked a little bit, they were like, it probably will work better if you have a co-host, so you're not just thinking of all the content, and it's easier with two people. So then, I texted Mike Muse and was like, yo, this is what's going on. Do you think you have anybody in mind? And he had actually said you, Dan Collins, and somebody else, one other guy, I forget who it was. And then I had tweeted, was like, yo, if I do a weekly podcast, would you guys listen? And then people had started firing back, like, you should do it with Biho. And I had never thought of it. And then, like, once the people started talking about it on Twitter, I texted Bobby, was like, hey, bro, this is what's going on. Would you want to be a part of it? And he was like, 1,000% in. So then, we started talking about stuff, and then we're here now.
You should have Dan Collins on as a guest somewhere down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he'd really enjoy that. He can tell some stories, and would definitely bounce things off you guys pretty well.
Yeah,
Bobby. Go ahead.
I want to, there's one story in particular I want to ask Dan about when we lost to Georgia. Me and James had got into it in the locker room, but it was clearly like people were trying to shut the door or whatever. But like Dan had got an earshot of what was going on. So, you know, he put some of that in the story. And I just wanted to know, like, how the hell he heard what was going on in there.
He's a good reporter now. You just never know what he finds out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the layout of the show and the various topics and segments you come up with, who's come up with those ideas? Have y'all just bounced ideas off each other, Bobby?
There's definitely a collaborative process. I would think I'm more of the planner. So I'm kind of always, mapping out, what are we going to talk about? Who could be our guests? Coming up with the segments, stuff like that. I'm always bouncing off Larry, making sure, that he's good with it or what ideas he has. But usually I'll put the rundowns together and then, we'll just go and we don't always stick to it. Sometimes we go off on topics that we like or things that are more entertaining. But I would say that's most of our limited process right now.
Is with this thing that I do right now, and I've gone to where I've done them all on Zoom over the last, since the pandemic. I don't edit. I just record and it's done. Are y'all doing editing afterwards, or is it just one take and it's done?
I mean, it's usually one take. Like I'll do a little quick edit where there may be some like slight pauses or like awkward silences, or sometimes between segments we're talking about stuff. So I'll clip that stuff up. But it's all in GarageBand. It's not like I'm going to some studio and getting it done. It takes about 30, 45 minutes max. I send it to Biho, like, yo, this is what I got. He okays it.
What's been the reception so far, guys?
Great.
It's been great. I didn't have the highest of expectations probably. I think we both came into this just wanting to have fun, talk about Wake, get to connect again over this stuff. And I was, I think, every week we're amazed at the download numbers and, the feedback and the questions we get. So it's really cool to see. It's definitely done more than I ever thought it would. And hopefully we can continue to build on that.
We, on our side of Demon Deacon Digest, where this podcast will be posted, there's a running thread where people, comment on your stuff and post the new links and stuff like that. So it's definitely, from what I've read, the readers / listeners have really enjoyed it. The only somewhat negative feedback I've gotten on that side is that LD needs to show some more excitement. they're used to him dunking a lot and being rather boisterous on the court. So they're looking for, that in the podcast, I guess. They want you to dunk in their face in the podcast, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, this is me off the floor. That's why it's hilarious. Like the guys on the team, it's funny that I'm that person on the court, because for the most part, this is me, just chilling, talking to guys, laughing. So it's funny that's become a thing. I'm supposed to be just some high-strung person all the time.
I agree with them, though. LD needs to show more excitement.
So what is the name of the podcast again, and where do y'all want to go with this thing now?
Just Believe in Wake Basketball Podcast on the Believe Network. We have the lowest of expectations for this. When we talked about it, I told Biha, I was like, bro, there could be some money that comes out of this. And he was like, bro, I don't care. We're just we get to shoot the shit we back in school. And it's not like we don't talk all the time. We're all in a group chat together, we talk, but it's not like this. We literally relive some of the moments that we had in school while talking about the current guys.
Yeah, I think, where it goes, who knows? We love talking about Wake basketball. Hopefully people like listening to what we have to say. Also, there's so many special people connected to the program or they've been part of the program. And, that's kind of what I'm excited about is as we get going, like bringing more guests on the show, whether it's guys we played with, coaches, current players, just there's so many people. So I'd love to, use it as a vehicle to, get to learn more about all of them and let them, put out all the great things they love about Wake Forest too. So hopefully we can keep it going and just, again, continue to learn more about what people like to hear, and hopefully we can keep an entertaining podcast out there for them.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed in the last couple of weeks with some of the stories I'm writing for Wake Forest is that guys in the far, history of the program, both in basketball and football, those guys really enjoy talking about their times. I mean, like I spoke with Charlie Davis, I spoke with Gil McGregor, I've done interviews with Bob Grant and Bill Overton from the football program, Steve Bowden. Those are guys that really, they'll spend time with you and share their experiences, and they love having the chance to tell their stories again, probably because they haven't had a chance to tell those stories in a long time. Now, those stories might be a little bit more embellished these days. Those stories might be a little bit more, extravagant than what they were in reality, but they love telling them, and they'll spend some time with you, I know. So it is, like you said, exciting to know about the vast, rich history behind the program and know you've got such a great resource of people that will talk with you and share fun stories. It's got to be really exciting.
Oh yeah, we've loved it. We had Muggsy on this past week, getting to learn about him. It's really cool to hear the stories. I know we both have a ton of our time, and yeah, we probably embellished too. 2008, 2019 being the best Deacon team ever, but it's nice to have that environment for that stuff to come out and people get the chance to see something that maybe they haven't before.
It's been really cool to talk to, like, Weave called me last week and he was like, bro, like I'm listening to the podcast and my wife can't understand why I'm laughing so hard. Like, so for you, the listener that wasn't there, it's like this is a really funny story. But Weave is like, man, like reliving it because I was there and to like know what I was thinking. Like I'm over here like crying tears just hearing about little snippets. We haven't even really touched the surface about like stories about the times like we were there. Like we like maybe like jab here or there. Like we haven't even scratched the surface about stuff that we can really like dive into because we have a platform for it now.
Yeah, I've been trying to balance it. It's like I feel like I didn't want to go all Uncle Rico and just be talking about our years there, but a lot of the feedback we get, like that's the stuff people actually like the most, or it's just the funniest or the most entertaining. So we'll continue to sprinkle that stuff in.
It's fun.
Which reminds me of the last topic we'll cover tonight, and I'll let you guys be free. What is your best? A reader wanted to know, what do you consider the best win in your Wake Forest career?
Ooh, I think we're going to think the same one. I want to hear what Biha says.
The best win. I think it's probably either at BYU or one of the Duke games junior or senior year. What are you thinking, Al?
BYU, at BYU.
Yeah, at
what
BYU.
Year was that? Was BYU really good that year? Who was on their team?
Jimmer Fredette.
Placed there. No, she was placed there with the year before.
Jonathan Tavernary. I was him on scout team.
Ali Kumar. They had like 3 7-footers too.
Yeah, but they had a 53 game home win streak. They were ranked. We went out to Utah. I think it was like early January. It was probably our last non-conference game. So it was in 2008, 2009. Really good game down to the wire. Yeah, that one, it was, they ran the Princeton offense. We're out in Utah. There's altitude, all that stuff. They had packed house, white out. It was
they threw.
It was a wild one.
it was crazy.
I would never guess a win against BYU would be the answer there. But I learned something new today from you guys. That sounds like a lot of fun.
That win, and what's crazy that it is the one that we think of, because I think over the next like 5 games, it was like we played BYU at BYU, came back, played at BC, then had
first Wake team to ever beat Boston College, amazingly.
Then we had
at Clemson. Or wait, we had Carolina before that.
Carolina home.
Carolina
at Clemson, last 2 undefeated teams in the country. Lose to Virginia Tech at home, then beat Duke at home. Like that's that stretch of games right there.
Yeah, like Clemson on the road was top 10. Carolina had been number 1, and they just lost the game before we played them. And then Duke was number 1 on that one too.
Oh no! We were all number 1 because that year we were the 3 of the 4 number 1 ranked teams in the country lost at Wake. Because it was we beat Carolina, then lost to Virginia Tech when we were number 1, and then beat Duke and they were number 1. It was something crazy like that.
Nuts. Any last comments for the fans, guys? Where do they find your work? If someone has not seen this podcast yet and they want to keep up with it, where do they find it? And what else do you want to say to the fans?
As far as where to find us, so we're hosted by the Believe Podcast Network, BLEAV. So you can go to their website, just search Believe Wake Forest, will pop up. We're on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher. Search Believe Wake Forest. We're there. Every time we post an episode, we're putting it out on Twitter and Instagram too. So if you follow us, we'll always have the link there as well.
Yeah.
As far as what to say to the fans, thank you again. We love that you are listening. We're going to keep getting better and better and trying to put out the best show we can. And, we love the feedback. So tell us what you like, what you don't like. If you have questions, let us know. We love getting to answer that stuff and just learning more about what you want to see. So again, thanks for listening. Send the feedback and go Deeks, all of that.
Yeah. Same, man. I mean, I think I speak for me and BL both. When we check that. Like, there's a little app that we can see like the listeners and downloads and stuff. I mean, I check it almost hourly just to see.
It's addicting.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool to have as many listeners as we didn't think we would have a 10th of this. So, yeah, I mean, we appreciate you guys. We didn't think it was going to be half as big as what it is now. It's fun for us. Now it's going to be a challenge to keep the content fresh. So, yeah, just stick with us. Hopefully we'll be here for a good long while.
Well, LD and Bobby, thanks for spending some time with me tonight. Best of luck with the podcast moving forward. Great start so far. I know the fans are loving it. And go Deeks.
Yep, go Deeks.
Go Deeks. Thanks, Les Dog.